All right, guys, today we are going to be reviewing the Onyx e-bike from Mokwheel. And just like pretty much any other e-bike you buy, you are going to have to do a little bit of the assembly yourself. Now, while I remove all this packaging material, a quick disclaimer here, Mokwheel did send this bike to me for free for testing. However, they did not tell me what to say. They just wanted an honest review. With that being said, assembly on this was pretty straightforward. They give you very nice tools to start off with. The instructions are also very easy to follow. You start off with your kickstand and then you move on to your handlebars along with the display. After that, we've got our front wheel to install and then our fenders along with the front headlight. Now this bike came with about a 60% charge, so after it was all put together, I went ahead and threw it on the charger for a couple hours just to make sure that it was all 100% before we got started. All right, before we take this thing out for a test drive, I want to show you the display and our control panel here. These are the controls. This is our display. The display is very simple. It shows your pedal assist. It's always going to start off in 0 when you power it up. That way it doesn't actually take off if you inadvertently hit the throttle before you get on it. I usually end up in pedal assist 5. That's usually where I ride. So I'll turn it on, turn it to pedal assist 5, and then just hit the road. There isn't any obvious way to get into the settings menu. So let me show you how to go ahead and do that. If you hit the plus and the minus here at the same time, that is going to take you into the technical settings. You've got language, assist level, voltage, wheel diameter, tacho magnets, and then a factory reset. You can do the left arrow to get you out of there. If you do the left and the right at the same time, that is going to take you to your function settings. I found this to be a little bit more helpful. I did adjust some of this stuff already. You've got your brightness, unit, throttle speed. I adjusted that up to 60 miles per hour. Obviously, we're not going to be going that fast, but I figured that will at least show me where the limit is on our throttle speed. Going down here, we have our assist speed. That will be for the different pedal assists. You can change the speed that it goes up to. For instance, on pedal assist 5, I have it again set for that 60, just so we can see what the top speed actually is. You can also adjust your intensity setting, riding modes, startup, fault check, reset trip. You can change the password. It doesn't have one from the factory. Well, it does, but it's just all zeros. And then you can go ahead and change that and then see what version software you're running. You hit the left arrow to get out of there, and then we're back to our main screen. All right, so now you're all caught up to speed. Let's take this thing out for a test drive. All right, guys, let's go. Oh, I forgot to turn on the bike. That would probably help. All right, the bike is on. Pedal assist starts off in 0. We're just pedaling naturally. Now let's go pedal assist 1. See what we've got. I'm going to start off on a trail that I've got in my backyard. It's just a little off-road trail. Should be fun to get to know the bike a little bit. Let's jump right into pedal assist 5, see what we've got. Man, it is a beautiful day out here. All right, everything went good on the test drive. Let's take this thing out on the road. Well, this mid-drive does take a little bit of getting used to. All right, let's take it in our little off-road portion here. Wow, that suspension is nice. All right, this is where we go into our top speed run. So let's go ahead and get this thing into 10th gear and see what it's got. 26. 28. 29. 30. 30. And now we are throttle only. 29.4. And that's where it's holding, 29.4. Oh, wow. You can feel a motor. That's funny, you can feel the torque kick in on it. Now, normally in this section, I'm on the road, but this thing is so nice off-road, I decided to take the bike trail. Dude, we are hauling. We are at 22, 23 miles an hour in the dirt here. So the torque is so dramatic when you hit the throttle, not so much when you're using the torque sensor and you're pedaling, but when you hit the throttle, that it actually pushes the rear suspension down just a little bit. Whew. This is a fast, very torquey bike. Way more torque than any hub motor bike I've ever tested, even one that had 2,000 watts of peak power. Let's do throttle only here. So I had to back off the throttle at 40 while we were going downhill there. That's the first time I've ever had to do that. So I want to show you something here. Even if I come to a complete stop and I keep it in 10th gear, which would normally be a little bit difficult to start pedaling in, as soon as it senses that torque sensor kicks in, and boy, it gives you a nice little bit of power there. Obviously, it's better to start off in a numerically lower gear, but man, that is nice. Man, I love torque sensors. Every single bike should have those. I think in a previous video I said that in 2 years every bike will have that. So I guess we got about another year before the cheap bikes catch up. This is going to be fun, taking this bike up that torture hill, because I believe the highest speed that I've ever been able to get out of a bike was 16 miles an hour. I think we'll be able to beat that. And that was with a bike that had 2,000 watts of peak power. Is that right? Do we still have 9 bars? All right, let's see what we got. Here comes the hill. We're starting off at 23.5. It's actually still increasing, 24. All right, here we go. Now it's starting to drop as we're going up the steeper part. I am going to drop the gear. 17.2. Oh, so nice. All right, we're starting to climb back up, back into the 16s. So I don't think it was the fastest bike. I think it was the second fastest bike up that hill. But we lost 0 bars on our battery. So there, as soon as you switch gears, there is a drop off in power. It must be the torque sensor. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are going to be going up a hill, try and make sure that you are in the right gear before you start. I'm gonna take this thing off-road here. This is crazy. This is the first time I've ever done this, where I've preferred the dirt on the side of the road. This thing hauls serious ass. So unless you count that little downhill section where I had to back up off the throttle, this is not the fastest bike I've ever tested. It's also not the most powerful bike. But according to the battery, this would be the most efficient bike that I've ever tested. So this is the first time I've ever extended my test to start exploring on a bike. Normally I've got like a very dedicated 12-mile loop that I'll do. Sometimes I'll do it 2 or 3 times. But now I'm just like off in exploring mode. I will need to adjust the suspension just a little bit. I think I'll actually stiffen it up just a hair. Not really because I'm too heavy for it. I'm 165 pounds, but because you go so fast over the bumps that you actually need a little bit more cushion. So the beautiful thing about a bike with a torque sensor instead of a cadence sensor is that it's a lot more natural feel. Basically, you just get on and pedal, and then whatever assist you need is what you get. I found that when I ride those bikes, this and the one other that I tested, I just get on and ride. I hardly ever use the throttle, and I think that's what you would want out of an e-bike. On the bikes with the cadence sensor, I'm constantly having to battle because I'll start to hit the pedal maybe just because I'm going through a turn and I want my pedal in a different position, and then it gives me all this power that was unexpected. So I find that naturally I just end up using the throttle basically everywhere that I go. And I don't think that that's what you want out of an e-bike. I think you want exercise, and that's exactly what I'm getting here. Oh, I've made it all the way around in a loop. This is so crazy. All right, let's get this thing back in the shop and see what we learned. All right, guys, first things first, I told you that I was going to have to stiffen up the suspension a little bit. You do that by adjusting the compression here. I was actually way off. There's a little ring right here that you can use to tell how much your suspension has actually traveled, and I saw it was only a little bit, and so I started messing around with it, and I realized I actually needed to adjust the preload, and I had to adjust it way down. This bike was actually set up for somebody a little bit heavier than me. Probably in that 200-pound range, it would have been perfect, but after adjusting the preload, we are all dialed in. Everything is great. I did not have to adjust the rear suspension. I did not talk at all on my drive about range. This bike is rated at 80 miles. It has a 19.6 amp hour battery, which is actually pretty much right in the middle of what you get, but it is a 750 watt mid-drive motor, which is way more efficient, especially with that torque sensor, because you're not giving it a lot of power constantly. So what does that mean? That means that this is one of the few bikes that I've tested that I actually think you could get that range realistically. Any e-bike that has pedals is going to get you as far as you're willing to pedal, but what you want to look at is, will it give you pedal assist for the entirety of what it is rated for, which is 80 miles? And I do think that this bike you could probably have in pedal assist up to 3 and still get that 80 mile range. I think if you're in pedal assist 5, you'd probably be looking at maybe 50 to 60 miles. And if you were in pedal assist 1, easily, I think you'll hit the 80 miles. So fantastic on that range and efficiency. The last thing that I wanted to show you, I don't know if this will matter for most people, but you do have a left and a right indicator here. There is no turn signals or brake light on this. You get this little battery powered unit that comes with it, and it's kind of cool that you do have different features here so you can have it flash when you're riding around, but you don't get a brake light like you do on a lot of e-bikes. I believe that is because this is clearly designed as more of an off-road bike, so it doesn't have, you know, some of the things that you would get on a road going bike. Not sure if that matters for people, but I do believe that this is the same switch that you would have on plenty of the other Mokwheel bikes, most of which would come with the turn signals. All right, guys, so hopefully this video helped if you're in the market for a new e-bike. I'll put a link in the description below for this bike and Mokwheel's website so you can get more details there. Otherwise, take care.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.